Hi, welcome back to another episode of Justlivin Designs podcast. My name is Shannon and I'm coming to you from Montana. Today is episode number 20 and it is Thursday, June 13th at almost 10:30 in the morning. I'm getting in a little later because summer break and kids with things, and I'll talk about it at the end with life stuff. Anywho, like I said, my name is Shannon. I'm Justlivin Designs. I do have patterns available on Ravelry, Payhip, and Lovecrafts. I don't think I have any patterns to show you today, not new designs at least. But this is my podcast where I talk about all my knitting, not just my design work. And then you can find all the links that I'll talk about down below in the description box. And I have like my Goodreads is down there, and my Linktree and my Ravelry page, and my Instagram handle is at Justlivin Designs. So you can follow me at all the places. All right, I think that's all the beginning stuff. Welcome. I finished, this is part of an FO, but it's also what I'm wearing. So I'll talk about this first. And what I'm going to do is I'll talk about all the knitting stuff first. So I'll have my finished objects, whips, acquisitions, and then I'll go into reading, watching, and life stuff at the end. So if you guys aren't interested in that, you can just bug out and enjoy the knitting content. But this is my new t-shirt that I was working on. Let's see, when did I start this? I started this about a month ago, so it took me about a month. And this is a self-drafted pattern I had knit last year. I think I started it in like March, but didn't finish it until like the end of summer. I started a striped sweater with the same numbers as this tee. The neckline's different on the sweater, and of course this is a t-shirt, but the same type of striping. And I wanted to make it into a t-shirt. This is fingering weight. This is actually knit with the Wool Dreamers Sonona. And the main color was Guthrie, and the stripes is Notes. And I used about 2 1/3 balls for the Guthrie of the main color, about half a ball. And these are 50 gram skeins. For the stripes for my size, and it is a wool cotton blend. I just finished it yesterday and washed it and blocked it. It dried really quickly. It's so light and airy, the fabric, it reminds me a little bit of Brooklyn Tweed Loft with how light it is and kind of how it feels. It is a little more prickly, so I don't know with wear or more washing if that will get better, but right now it's a little prickly on my skin, so I'm not 100% sure. I do kind of want to use this yarn as a cardigan where I would have like a t-shirt underneath it. I think would be better suited for me, at least. I'm not hugely sensitive, but up on my chest, I can feel it's a little more prickly in it, like my back there. So I don't know if it's the best for, at least for me, for a t-shirt, but we'll see. But I'll stand up so you can kind of see the whole. So I did, I ended up doing a rolled collar, and it has 1x1 ribbing with a Italian tubular bind off on all the ribbing. And yeah, it's just a nice, I love the shape. I love the stripes. I just don't know if I love this yarn directly on my skin. So we'll see. Like I said, I think it'd be great for a cardigan. I don't know if I really want it for another, at least not a t-shirt. If it was on something that, you know, because I do have a tank top underneath this, I usually do, but I still have a lot of skin exposed with the tank top, so I don't know, we'll see. All right, so that's my first finished object, even though it was finished yesterday, but it's part of what I'm wearing. This, like I said, it's self-drafted. I don't know if I'll ever write up the pattern, but it's just a raglan fingering weight that I had fun with stripes and playing with. And the reason I designed it in the first place, the other one, is because I needed the collar. I don't like really wide collars, and a lot of sweaters have quite a wide collar. This one's not This one's a little bit wider than the one that I have with the actual ribbing at the top, just because it doesn't close up quite as well when you just do a rolled edge. But I did a pickup after. I like cast on and then I pick up to add a little bit more structure and stability up there. All right, now my next, I have a couple pairs of socks that are finished objects. My first pair is a stripy pair. This is so a while back, I almost talk about it at the beginning of every month, but a while back, before the beginning of the year, my daughter and I went through my sock stash and grabbed out 12 skeins, and then we put them in paper bags and put them away. And then every month I pick out another skein. So I'm knitting from my stash, and some of it's really old stash and some of it's not very old. My daughter picked what she kind of liked more. So this was a pair from that. So it's like my own yarn club that I get to open every month. And this is Woolens and Nosh. It was a one-of-a-kind colorway. It's her fancy schmancy pumpkins, but it's not non-gradient. Her original colorway for that, the colors gradiate, and this one is all non-gradient. And I just did toe up with a 2x2 rib, and then a cut in afterthought heels. And I do have a tutorial for how to cut in your afterthought heels on this channel. But yeah, I really love these. They'll either be for me or my daughter. I haven't discussed it. Lately, she's been getting a lot of socks, so maybe they'll be for me. And then my next pair is, I talked about casting these on in the last podcast. I'll just put one on the blocker. But this is the June Pride socks. Got both of them done. And so this one is my trusty top-down sock pattern. So I did a 1x1 rib with, this is leftover yarn from Skein Cocaine, the special. I had knit socks out of it earlier this year because I think it was part of my stash thing. And then this is Grainbow by Pretty Twisted Yarns. It was her Pride colorway from last year, and I received it after June already started, so I just saved it for this year. But yeah, I made this fun little like stripey detail. And yeah, it's got a heel flapping gusset with a garter edge. That's the pattern. And then I did the toe with the special as well. And this is 3x1 rib, because if you've been here before, you know all my family prefer their socks to be ribbed. And they've been blocked, and you can even see after, coming off the blocker, it sucks in a lot more. So if you have, I say this a lot, if you have problems with your socks staying up, try a ribbed sock. And I prefer a 3x1. I think it looks better, but also it's just easier. You got less pearls to do. All right, so that's all my finished objects. I had a tee and 2 socks. And both those socks are entered into Crazy Sock Ladies Summer Sock Camp. That started at the end of May, and it will go all the way through the end of August, I believe. You can find out the details about that on her podcast, or on her Ravelry group, or on her Instagram. She has all the details, but it's just basically a sock knit along. And I have a couple of patterns that I'm donating to that for prizes. Let's see, what else is there? I think that's all for that. Whips. I'll start with the blanket. I am still working on, every once in a while I pick up my other blankets, but I'm not doing enough for them to be shown, really. But here's my granny stripe. I still try to work on it in the mornings. Not every morning do I actually pick it up. I was right here last time, kind of at the beginning of that brown, purple, green color. And this yarn, I think I solar dyed myself, which you just put it in mason jars and dye it outside. Years ago when I was going to do a Stephen West, I tried to do a gradiating brown for the background color. And then I just never really liked doing the pattern. So pulled everything out, because they were all like 50 gram skeins, I think, that I dyed up. So they now go into blankets. I think this was the darkest or the medium darkest brown. I think I had 4 different colors. And then this one is a Lolo did it. I used it on a sock design, one of my early ones, tin roof socks, and it's the tin roof rusted colorway. So it's like gray, and then it has some like rusty bits. But yeah, so I am just doing 20 gram minis or leftover yarns. Here's the bottom. And these other markers are my monthly markers. So here's where I was at the beginning of June. And then May to June is there. So it's getting work put into it. I just make magic knot balls or cakes really, because I use my winder. And then I weigh it, and then once I get done with the whole ball, I'll take it out of my stash. I'm using a 3mm crochet hook. And yeah, long-term project. Okay, my next whip. This is, I guess I can grab one of my blockers, because it's actually, there is a hoe, but it's more than that, because I'll be done with this sock probably today. This is me again, like I'm working on my Fleagle heel design. So I'm just playing with Fleagle heels. Another shorty. This is leftover yarn from stash that I've had for a while. I knit a pair of DK weight socks holding this purple and another skein together. But this is Western Sky Knits, her smooth sock in Shell Seeker. And I had about not quite 44 grams left, so I added, because I need a little bit more than that to make myself a pair of shorties that I like, so I added just some black. This is, I think it's Cloudborn, the black. Cloudborn, it was Craftsies. I think I don't know if they still sell it on yarn.com, but it was Craftsies. Merino Superwash Sock Twist in the colorway black. Because I like to buy like full skeins of solids sometimes just for contrast, heels, toes, and cusps. But yeah, so this is toe up with a Fleagle heel and a 1x1 rib. And the second sock is this far. And so I got a little raven. This is a Charmed and Dangerous. Generally, most of my charms are from Charmed and Dangerous. And then I use these light bulb stitch markers to count every 10 rounds. And so I make socks that are exactly the same. I have my little sock notebook. Actually, just started this one because I finished up my old one. But it's just got my numbers that I'm using for this sock, so I know where to go. Oh, put the black yarn back in there. And this is in a bag by Bags by Awesome Granny. Nice little sock bag. It's big enough for 2 skein project. So when I have like a sock ball of yarn, if the second ball of yarn is bigger than like a mini, I usually use this one. Or if I'm using more than 2 skeins like color work or striping or something, I'll use this one. My next whip is another pair of socks. And this one I think I showed you last time as well that I was going to start it. I did start it the other day, and then I only worked on it that day. And then I got distracted by finishing this because I was so close. So I was like, I'm just going to finish it. But yeah, this is another pair of self-striping socks. This is yarn that I bought from Tiny Human Knits. And it's the Soot Sprite colorway. It came with a 50 gram main color and then 10 gram minis in these colors. So I already used the yellow on the toe. And then it's self-striping, and I'm going to do it after heel. These are for my daughter, so I have a 3x1 rib on the top of the foot right now because this is toe up. And the reason I'm doing it toe up, and this is something I've talked about before, is if you have a smaller amount of yarn and you want to get the most out of your yarn, knit them toe up, because then you don't have to guess on where to stop knitting. And so whenever I knit socks for like, if I'm using 50 gram skein, I generally do toe up. especially if they're for my son, because he likes taller socks, so I can really get the most out of it. Unless you're doing shorties, then you usually don't have to worry about it as much. All right, so, and this is in a bag by Barley Pearls. I like this one in the summer. It's my nighttime moths and bats and stuff. I like this one in the summer. That's all I got for whips. I think that's all. Yeah, all the knitting content. I do have a little bit of acquisitions. Ooh, I also have a coupon code that's coming up because my birthday is next week. And so I'm starting a promotion. I think I'm going to have this come out on Friday. So it will be on the day that it starts. I'm going to have a birthday promotion. I can only really run this through Ravelry because PayHip, I'd have to enter it for each individual pattern. And I just don't have time for that. So it'll be a Ravelry only coupon code starting next Friday. So June 14th of 2024 and going through the next Friday after that, which is June 21st, 2024. And it will be BDay20 will be the code, and you will get 20% off all my patterns. And I do have a fair amount of patterns. So especially if you love socks, I have a lot of sock patterns, but there's hats and cowls and shawls and even a sweater and a t-shirt. So there's lots of different things that you can find. And a pair of mittens and at least one pair, or no, a couple pairs of color work mitts too, I think. Anyways, a lot of things. So yeah, feel free to use that because it's celebrating my birthday. And then the other thing I want to talk about before I get into acquisitions is my stats for last month, since last podcast was right before the end of the month. So last month I keep a little tally in my project notebook on grams that I use and grams that come in. And I had 490 grams go out and 400 grams go in. So I'm still in the black, which is good. I think for the year I'm still in the black as well, because I think so far there's only been 1 month that I went over on yarn coming in compared to going out, but overall I'm doing way better than I did last year. But yeah, this is my notebook where I kind of write down all of my projects. So you can see I have a lot of whips. I don't show you all of them. Anything that's carried over from the previous month is all one color, and then anything I cast on, I kind of all go through lots of different colors, and then I check them off when I get them done. And then on the next page, I write down all my information for my finished objects, the needle, the date it's finished, the type of yarn. That way, if I don't get it into Ravelry right away, I at least don't forget. And then this is this month. So far I have more out than in, but there's more yarn coming in the mail because that's just what happens. But yeah, so I'm still doing good on my stats. All right, so acquisitions. I forgot to talk about this last time, but it came in the mail before the last episode. And it is Trimmed and Dangerous. She had a few of her Star Wars charms, Star Wars themed charms. This one was called, like, I don't know, Forest Bear maybe, because you can't use the actual name, but it's I'm blanking. I love Star Wars and I'm just like blanking on the name of these guys. Sorry about that, but I loved him. I have her Leia, and I think my daughter has either Yoda or Grogu. I don't remember. I think it might be Yoda. And then do I have another one? I have Chewbacca. So now I have one of these guys. And then with him, I also bought, I always liked this one, and I needed more like summery ones. So this is a Hunger Caterpillar. And I love him. So she does really good work and really cute little polymer clay figurines. So I will have her linked down below. And the other thing I got in the mail was from Coats & Co. I heard about them last year when they didn't do so well at Woolen Folk and bought a mini skein pack from them. And then I wanted to make a design, and they have a lot of, like, they do a lot of good, like, tonals. And it was kind of like you order and then they dye it to order, I think is how it usually goes. So it took a while from me ordering it to receiving it. But this is, this one's not labeled with what color it is. I think it's saffron, but it's their Prairie Sock. So it's an 80/20 superwash merino and recycled nylon. And I think this is saffron, the color. So it's this lovely, like, rusty orange. And then I got 2 minis to pair with it because I thought they looked really good together. This one is electric yellow and then pistachio. I know there's a little glare. I just didn't take it out of the packaging yet because I don't know when exactly I'm going to get this design cast on. So I figured I'll just keep it nicer and leave it in the packaging for now. But yeah, that's all my acquisitions. Did promo code, did stats. So we're into reading, watching, and life stuff. And I know it's taken me a while to finish a few books, but I actually finished a few books. So I finished listening to, we have the physical copy because my son loves this book. He rereads it all the time. This is Ready Player One by Ernest Cline. I finished listening to it on the Libby app from my library. I enjoyed it. Very different from the movie. So if you've seen the movie, it's not, I mean, you kind of understand the story if you've seen the movie, but everything that happens in the movie, hardly nothing happens in the book. So it's very different. And then I finished reading my physical copy book was Morning Star. It's the 3rd book in the Red Rising trilogy by Pierce Brown. Since he finished writing this trilogy, he has come out with 3 more books, and I think there's going to be a 4th one. So it'll be 7 total, I believe, in the series. But this one does wrap up fairly well. So if you don't want to read beyond, you don't have to. And I'm taking a break from these. My son just finally started. I knew he would like it because he loves, like, space and he loves science fiction stuff. And so I knew he'd enjoy these books. And it took him a long time. He started reading Red Rising. In the beginning of it, that first book is a little bit, you're like, you just don't know what, and you don't get into it. But then as you get going, it really picks up and picks up the interest. And I told him, just get past part 1, then you'll be better. And he did, and he just, like, devoured it within a few days because that's what he does with books. So he's on the 2nd book, which is Golden Sun, and then he'll start reading this one. So I'm glad I finished it so I don't have to have him wait. Because when he starts reading, it just goes boom and goes through them. I am now listening to, on my Libby app, The Locked Door from Freida McFadden. I am like 20% in. It's all right. I'm not very far right now, so we'll see how it goes. And then I started reading, this is one of the books my kids got me for Mother's Day, The Cruel Prince. It's a fairy type world. And I'm just like, I think what chapter am I on? Like chapter 5 maybe? Yeah, I'm on chapter 5. I just started reading it yesterday. So I'm not very far yet. I will let you know how it goes. Because that's part of it. It's the first book in a series. So we'll see how we do on that. Watching, we have, my husband and I finished watching the first season of True Detective on Max. It was a hard show to really watch until it started getting more interesting later in the episodes. So it was easier for us to like want to watch it then. It took us a long time to get through that season. I know every season has like a different storyline, different detectives type thing. We haven't started the next one just because we don't have time to watch stuff together very often. We are still watching with the kids. Every once in a while we can get in an episode or two of HBO's, or not HBO's, but BBC's Doctor Who. We are still on the 9th Doctor. We're towards the end, getting closer to the end of that season with them. So my husband and I have watched through the 11th Doctor previously when it was on a different streaming service, but then when it moved to Max, we didn't have it, so we didn't watch it. We're not watching the new Doctor Who's on Disney Plus yet until we get caught up. My husband and I might start watching Doctor Who from the Doctors we haven't watched yet, because it will take forever for us to get it with the kids, so we might do that on our own. We watched Wonka again on Max with the kids, and I actually enjoyed it a lot more than I thought I would. I love the original Charlie and the Chocolate Factory, or Willy Wonka, whichever one it is. Willy Wonka and the Charlie and the Chocolate Factory, or Charlie, whichever the one has Gene, what is his name? Gene something? Gene Wilder, maybe? Love that one. It's great. Hate the one with Johnny Depp. Reminds me of a pedophile, and just don't like it. And kind of reminds me of Michael Jackson. Just don't like it. But this one's good because it's like a prequel type thing. It's the story of Willy Wonka starting his chocolate factory, I guess. So, liked it. I guess that's about it. My son and I have still been watching like Mythbusters, and then, you know, all that type of stuff. My daughter and I will every once in a while get an episode of Supernatural. I've watched all the episodes of Supernatural, and she enjoys it, so we watch it together sometimes. I think that's about everything. Little bit of life stuff. We went to, at the beginning of June, so what was that, June 2nd on that Saturday? No, June 1st. There was Spring Fest at the Moss Mansion. It is like a outdoor, small little craft fair type thing. And we bought some new soup bowls because we have a mixed match of soup bowls, and which is fine. One of them's actually like a cappuccino mug or something like that, a latte mug from a potter that I knew back in college. So we got a couple new ones, so when we have company and have soup, there's some more soup bowls to use. And then school ended on 31st of May was their last day. Kids did good, straight A's. So that's good. My daughter, like I said before, had started driver's ed. She has since gotten her learner's permit. And so now we are legally allowed to drive around with her. So a lot of times whenever I go out for errands, she drives. It's a little scary, to be honest, but it's good. Like, I think I talked about this last time when I took driver's ed, and this was back in South Dakota. I think I only had driver's ed for a week, and we only had like maybe 6 hours of driving. And then we got our restricted license, and there was no like, you have to drive so many hours with your parents. Whereas here you have a learner's permit for like 6 months at least, and you have to drive at least, I think, 50 or 60 hours, and some of that being nighttime driving, before you can get your restricted license. So yeah, we're just letting her drive, trying to not grip the armrest too hard or slam my foot on the floor. But I do that when my husband drives too, when I think he should slow down faster. So she's not special on that one. I'm a little bit of a control freak. My husband, so since this will be airing on Friday, he comes back. He's been out of town again. Left Monday morning. He'll be back this afternoon, Thursday. I don't usually like to tell people when he's not in town until he's back in town. But since this won't air until Friday, he'll be back in town by then. So yeah, he's been gone all week. So that's been interesting with, sometimes when you have kids with multiple things, like yesterday, my son had an appointment and my daughter had something else that she was doing, and I needed to pick up my daughter when he wasn't quite done with his appointment, and then she had to wait a little bit. So it was just, timing gets funny, but she just had to wait. But yeah, so a little bit of life stuff that happened this morning. So my son, his appointment yesterday was for the orthodontist, and they had some other stuff to do, and so they forgot to put on his bottom wire, and it was in the afternoon. And by the time he noticed it, they were closed. So I called him right away this morning. They're like, got him in, got the wire put on. So that was one of the reasons that I'm podcasting a little bit later in the morning. Don't like to do it when it gets too warm, because I'm upstairs, and even with the air conditioner running, it gets quite warm up here. Also, my window that I have open to have more natural light in here so you can see things better, is on the side of the house that when it gets to the afternoon, the sun shines in. So I don't want to have that extra heat radiating in, or blinding me. So I try to podcast in the morning for numerous reasons. Yeah, what else? With all the things going on, summary and all that stuff, I don't know that I will. Normally I try to podcast every 2 weeks on Thursdays, and then have it either come out on Thursdays or Fridays. I might not be able to do that in 2 weeks. It might be 3 weeks before we get there, just because there's summer things and stuff going on, and we'll see. Either I record it early or I just come back a week later, and that's fine. It's not the end of the world. So you guys, I'm sure there's a lot of podcasters that, one, they don't follow a schedule at all, and they just come on when they have time. And there's other ones that will, yeah, we got vacations, we got other things we got to do. You get busy, you get life stuff. So yeah, I don't think I'll be here in 2 weeks. I think it will be 3 weeks. That's just life. But yeah, so like I said before, it is my birthday coming up next week. So I have my birthday promotion going on Ravelry. It starts Friday, June 14th and goes through June 21st of 2024, sorry. Let's not go back to 2020. 2024. Just use code BDAY20. I will have that link down below with I'll have the code written down below with a link to my Ravelry pattern page, so you can go through and see and stock up on some cheaper patterns. Yeah, I don't know what we're gonna do for my birthday. We'll see. It's up to the family. It's not up to me. They kind of decide what. Also, coming up on Sunday this week is Father's Day. So for all the dads that are out there, all the people that, the moms that are dads, or the uncles that are dads, there's lots of the grandpas, happy Father's Day. A little early. We got our, ordered the husband his Father's Day gift. We usually give him a Lego set every year. When the kids were littler, he would build it with them. Nowadays, he kind of wants to build it on his own, but they usually try to build a little bit, because they all love to build Lego. And it's generally space themed. I will tell you, or maybe even show you what it is next episode, because it might be built by then. We'll see how much time they have to work on it, because it's usually, nowadays we get them, everybody gets pretty big Lego sets because they just enjoy the more difficult stuff. I think that's everything. So I hope you guys all had a good 2 weeks. I hope you have a good next probably 3 weeks before I see you. And just, have fun in the summer. For everybody that's up here in the Northern Hemisphere, getting into the winter. Have fun in the winter for the Southern Hemisphere people. And we'll see you soon.